everyone, I'm Graham Ledger, and welcome to the Daily Ledger. Our cover story: Republican control of Congress solidified. So now the question is, what will the GOP do with control of 1/3 of government and all of the legislature? In Louisiana, the victory by Republican Congressman Bill Cassidy over Democrat incumbent Senator Mary Landrieu is insult to injury for the party led by Barack Obama. Landrieu was a 3-term senator who voted with Obama virtually 100% of the time. And that, in the end, was her downfall. Cassidy took 56% of the vote in a special runoff election on Saturday. Landrieu finished 12 points behind with a dismal 44%. Meantime, Republican victories in 2 Louisiana congressional districts only adds to the margin in the House for Republicans. So, for the new Congress in the House, the Republicans will control 246 seats, Democrats 188. It's the largest GOP advantage since Harry Truman. And in the Senate, Republicans will hold 54 seats when the upper chamber convenes in January. That's a pickup of 9 seats total in the Senate for the GOP in the 2014 election.
On November the 4th, the American people sent a message. They sent a message that they did not like the direction our country was going in. Now, you in this room, our state, is the exclamation mark on that message. We echo that we want our country to go in a conservative direction. Where the patient has the power, not a bureaucrat. Where we have no shame in using America's natural resources to create better jobs for working families. And where we, the people, have the power and not the federal government.
Okay, so now what? All these senators who won campaigned on repealing Obamacare and stopping executive amnesty. And most Republicans in the House did the same. However, the Republican leadership right now appears to be caving already. They appear to be abandoning their pledge to fix the Obama mess. So, what gives? What are the Republicans afraid of exactly? Joining me now from Washington, D.C., editor-in-chief at CNS News and Daily Ledger contributor Terry Jeffrey. Terry, I want to back up to Louisiana on Saturday. Mary Landrieu, she laid down the gauntlet during her campaign, basically said, and I paraphrase, that if you don't like Obamacare, she said, unelect me. Well, that's what the voters of Louisiana did, and it pretty much echoed what took place in the November election.
She did. She voted for Obamacare. I think it's one of the things that took her out. I think her very left-wing views on social issues also hurt. I will say, Graham, there's a lesson here for Republicans. I heard a lot of analysis over the weekend that, Mary Landrieu was the last Democratic senator in the Deep South. This was something about the Deep South. There was this sort of implicit assumption that all southern states are the same, or that all Gulf states are the same. And the truth is, Louisiana is quite different than some of its neighboring states. It's very different from Mississippi and Alabama. For example, Louisiana is 28% Catholic. That's more than the nation as a whole, which is 24% Catholic. Mississippi and Alabama have single-digit Catholic populations. Louisiana has a huge, sophisticated metropolitan center in New Orleans. Mississippi and Alabama have nothing like that. In Louisiana, to win a statewide election, you need to join together evangelical Christians and Catholics. Mary Landrieu was a Catholic candidate running there. She lost to Cassidy because he was able to stitch together that kind of coalition. Obviously, it was a referendum on Obama, but also showed that cultural conservatism drives that kind of coalition in the Republican Party, especially in states that have demographics like Louisiana, which is more similar to Iowa or New Hampshire than it is to Mississippi or Alabama.
And if you look at the greater United States as a whole, clearly the message from this election was voters don't want Obamacare. Many of them want to repeal. The majority, I think, now wants it repealed. And they don't want executive amnesty. So they have handed then this task to the Republicans. Yet we are hearing now in the lame duck session of Congress, it appears as though the Republicans either are not listening to this message, or they seem to be afraid to start using the political muscle that the voters have given them. Now, I realize that the new Congress isn't seated for another month or so, but hey, this is a moment in time when we're talking about the budget. And now we have this monstrosity of a word, cromnibus, which is just one of those typical Washington speak words. But basically what it is, to me, is John Boehner and the Republican leadership punting the ball and passing another huge spending plan without trying to do their job, and that is regular order.
Well, that's exactly what they're going to do. And the irony is, what they're actually trying to do is make sure that Bill Cassidy, who was elected to the Senate on Saturday, has absolutely no leverage over federal policy with the vote he's going to be able to cast starting in January. What I'm hearing is that they're going to pass a CR that runs almost all the government through the end of the next fiscal year, September 30th. They'll carve out DHS and put that into March. But they'll fund the amnesty, they'll fund Obamacare, they'll fund Obamacare's attack on religious liberty. They will do nothing to thwart Obama's unilateral executive agenda through the funding bills that they're going to pass this week. So they capitulate. That is their very first act after winning their majority. It's capitulation.
So what is it the Republicans are afraid of? Or maybe I should phrase it another way. Are the Republicans just Democrat light? And do they not respect the will of the voters and what the voters wanted to have happen in the new Congress?
I think they are. I mean, I think that they're afraid of the media. I think they don't understand the political dynamics of the country. I mean, I think some of them do. I don't think the Republican leadership does. So I think that they think they're appeasing the media and they're appeasing what they think is the electorate in a national election. I think they're very wrong on that. I think that what the Republican Party is about to do is inspire great disgust with them. We know that people are disgusted with Congress in general, but with the Republicans in a majority acting contrary to their own stated principles, they will expressly inspire disgust for Republicans in Congress.
They appear to be abdicating their constitutional duty and their constitutional authority. For example, when the leadership trots out and says, we're taking impeachment off the table, that's absolutely nuts. That's like Obama saying, I'm taking veto off the table. You just don't do that. And they're also apparently afraid of using the power of the purse. I would argue that they have a constitutional duty to stand up to this president and his unconstitutional actions.
They do. John Boehner himself said that Obama's unilateral amnesty was a serious breach of the Constitution and a serious threat to our system of government. I think he's right. John Boehner also, by the way, a couple of years ago went down to the floor of the House and said that the contraception regulation in Obamacare that had been issued under Obamacare was a serious attack on the free exercise of religion. He was right there, too. So, I mean, Graham, quite frankly, what these folks are going to do, the Republican leaders in Congress are going to do, and they will lead many Republicans in the House to join them, is to vote for something that they say is unconstitutional, and to vote for something that they say is immoral, and to vote for something they say is an attack on fundamental liberties of the American people. So once they vote for it, they are morally responsible for it, and that's what they're going to do. And you know, I wish I could say I don't think they're going to do it. I wish I could say that all my years in Washington, surprises me. It doesn't surprise me. They're going to do it. And nonetheless, it's so distressful because of the serious issues that are involved today. 30 years ago, there were serious issues, but now they're much more serious. Fundamental liberty and a president who has absolute disregard for the Constitution.
President's violating his oath of office, but if the Republicans don't hold him to account, they're also violating their oath of office. Terry, thanks.